This year, 2025, is not just another chapter in your life. It's a blank canvas waiting for your masterpiece. But let me be brutally honest, the world is louder than ever. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone has a voice. Everyone wants to be heard. And yet, the real power isn't in the noise. It's in the silence. The silence where you sharpen your focus, protect your energy, and build a life that speaks louder than any words ever could. Today, I want to share 6 principles that will transform your life if you commit to them in 2025. If you really want to take 25 and make it your year, the very first thing you have to do, the non-negotiable, is learn how to protect your energy. I want you to think about this for a moment, because it's not just a nice idea. It's not some optional piece of advice you can take or leave. It's the foundation. Without it, nothing else you try to build will stand for long. See, energy isn't just about how much coffee you had this morning, or how many hours of sleep you got last night. Energy is life. It's the invisible currency you're spending every minute of every day. Every conversation, every thought, every action, you're paying for it with your energy. The question is, are you investing it in something that multiplies, or are you giving it away to things that drain you, leaving you empty? And I want you to notice, I didn't say time is the foundation, because let's be real. Plenty of people have time, but they waste it. They sit around with endless hours and no results. Why? Because they lack energy. You can have all the time in the world, but if you don't have the energy, use it effectively, you're stuck. Time is meaningless without energy. Now, here's the problem. Most people don't even realize how much of their energy they leak every single day. They wake up, and before they even taken one conscious breath, they've already given themselves away. The phone buzzes. They check emails. They scroll social media. They start reacting before they've even set an intention for the day. And you know what happens? They spend the whole day reacting instead of creating. Their energy isn't being directed. It's being hijacked. Think about it. How often have you in a day feeling completely drained? But when you look back, you didn't actually accomplish anything that moved your life forward. You weren't climbing a mountain. You weren't building a business empire, even though it's not reality, and you weren't creating a masterpiece. And yet you're exhausted. That's not physical tiredness. That's energy leakage. That's you spending your life force on things that don't deserve it. Let's get honest here. How much of your energy is spent worrying about what other people think of you? How much of it is spent replaying old conversations, or anticipating someone's reaction, or scrolling through someone else's highlight reel while comparing it to your behind-the-scenes reality? Every single one of those habits is like poking holes in your energy tank. And then we wonder why our dreams feel so far away. You've got to start treating your energy like it's sacred. Because it is, and you've got to understand, not everyone deserves access to it. Not every conversation is worth having. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every comment needs a response. You've got to develop the courage to say no to people, to distractions, to habits that don't serve your highest self. And I know what some of you are thinking. But if I don't show up for everyone, even though thank God I don't care, listen to me, saying yes to everyone else is often the fastest way to say no to yourself. And the people who truly value you will respect your boundaries. The ones who get offended by your boundaries were the ones benefiting from your lack of them. You see, protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's self-respect. You cannot pour into others if your cup is empty. You cannot create at your best if you're exhausted. You cannot show up fully in your relationships, your career, your health, if you're running on fumes. Protecting your energy isn't about shutting the world out. It's about making sure you have enough power to show up in the world at the level you were meant. Now, let's talk about silence, because one of the most powerful ways to protect your energy in 2025 is learning the art of silence. And silence, for a lot of people, is uncomfortable. They equate silence with weakness, with retreat. But let me tell you something, silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. When you're silent, you conserve your energy. You're not wasting it defending yourself to people who will never understand. You're not wasting it arguing with someone committed to misunderstanding you. You're not draining it by constantly broadcasting your every move to people who don't actually support you. Silence protects your energy from being scattered. Some of you need to hear this. Stop announcing every plan. Stop explaining every decision. Stop giving play-by-plays of your goals. Just do the work. Let the results speak. Because here's the truth. The more you talk about what you're going to do, the more energy you waste that could have gone into actually doing it. There's also something deeper that happens in silence. In silence, you reconnect with yourself. And for a lot of people, that's the scariest thing in the world. Because when the noise quiets down, you have to face the truth. You have to face your fears, your insecurities, the gap between you are and who you want to be. And that's what so many people fill their lives with: constant distraction. They're running from the silence. But here's the paradox. It's only in the silence that you can truly hear the voice of your own soul. Think about the greatest breakthroughs in human history. They didn't happen in the middle of chaos. They happened when someone stepped away from the noise, went inward, and listened. That's where clarity is born. That's where vision takes shape. That's where realignment happens. So I challenge you, make space for silence in 2025. Not just moments, but real intentional silence. Time where you shut off the noise and the opinions, the endless scroll, and you just sit with yourself. First, it will feel uncomfortable. That's okay. Growth always does. But if you stay with it, you'll start to notice something powerful. You'll hear your own thoughts again. You'll connect with ideas that have been buried under the noise. You'll gain the clarity you've been searching for. And here's the beauty of it. The more you protect your energy and embrace silence, the more powerful you become. You'll start to notice your creativity skyrockets. You'll notice your decisions get sharper. You'll notice you walk into a room and people feel something different about you, even before you say a word. That's the power of energy. When you protect it, you radiate it. But protecting your energy is not a one-time choice. It's a daily practice. Every day, you will be tested. Every day, someone or something will pull you back into distraction, into noise, into chaos. And every day, you'll have to choose do I give my energy this, or do I protect it for something greater? That choice will define your 2025. Not luck, not chance, that choice. So I want you to leave here with one simple commitment: stop leaking your energy. Stop giving it away to things that don't matter. Stop letting the noise of the world drown out the voice of your own potential. Protect your energy like your life depends on it. Because in many ways it does. And remember this, the world doesn't need more people who talk loudly of what they're going to do. The world needs people whose silence is so powerful, whose energy is so focused, that their results echo louder than any words ever could. Protect your energy. Guard it fiercely. Live from it fully. And watch your life transform in 2025. It's easy to talk. In fact, it's never been easier. We live in a world where anyone can broadcast their opinions, their intentions, their goals to thousands, even millions of people in an instant. But here's the hard truth: words are cheap. They cost nothing. The real currency, the thing that actually changes your life, isn't what you say you'll do. It's what you do. Now, I want you to think about this. How many times have you told yourself, and this is the year I'm going to change. This is the year I'm going to start working out. This is the year I'm going to launch that business. This is the year I'm going to fix that relationship. This is the year I'm going to finally step up and play full out. And then weeks pass, months pass, and nothing really changes. Why? Because the words were there, but the actions never followed. You see, when you announce something to the world without following it up, you get a quick hit of satisfaction. It feels good to say it out loud. Your brain rewards you with a little dopamine rush, as if you've already accomplished something. But here's the problem: that illusion of progress tricks you into believing you've done more than you actually have. And before you know it, and you've traded real growth for the comfort of saying you're going to grow. Let me put it another way. Every time you tell the world what you're going to do, without actually doing it, you're borrowing pride from your future self. And the more you borrow, the more you build a debt you can't repay. Eventually, you look in the mirror and realize the gap between who you say you are and who you actually are has grown into a canyon. And that's when frustration sets in. That's when you start to lose trust in yourself. And losing trust in yourself, that's the greatest loss of all. Because if you can't believe your own words, if you can't rely on yourself to follow through, how can you expect anyone else to? Trust isn't built on what you promise. It's built on what you deliver. That's why in 2025, you've got to make a decision. You've got to decide that this is the year you stop announcing and start executing. Even though this is the year you stop telling the world what you're going to do and you just do it. This is the year you stop leaking energy through endless explanations and start conserving it for massive action. And listen, this doesn't mean you never speak about your goals. It doesn't mean you hide from the world. What it means is you let your results be the loudest thing about you. Because results speak a language no one can argue with. They don't need defending. They don't need convincing. Results are undeniable. Think about the people you respect in your life, the ones you admire. Chances are it's not because of what they promised or how loud they were. It's because of what they delivered. You respect them because when they say something, You've seen them back it up, and that's what I want for you in 2025. To become the kind of person whose actions speak so loudly that the words don't even matter anymore. Now, here's something important to understand. Taking action isn't always glamorous. Most of the time, the work that builds a powerful life isn't the kind of work that gets applause. It's not the flashy announcement. It's the late nights when no one's watching. It's the early mornings when you'd rather stay in bed. It's the countless times say no to short-term pleasure so you can say yes to long-term success. It's the daily disciplines, the repeated choices, the grind that nobody sees. And that's why silence is such a powerful ally here, because silence keeps you focused on the work instead of distracted by the applause. Silence keeps you from chasing validation and reminds you that the real reward is in the growth itself. Now let's get real. The reason so many people choose words over action is because words are safe. Words don't risk failure. Words don't require sacrifice. Words expose you to judgment if you don't succeed. Action, on the other hand, action puts you in the arena. It opens you up to the possibility that you might stumble. You might fail, you might fall short. And for a lot of people, that fear is enough to keep them talking instead of doing. But here's the paradox. The very thing you're afraid of failure is also the thing that makes you stronger. Failure is feedback. Every time you act and it doesn't work, you've gained wisdom. You've grown. You're closer to the version of yourself that can succeed. But if all you ever do is talk, you never give yourself that chance. You stay stuck in theory, in potential, and a fantasy of what you could become instead of the reality of what you are becoming. Let me tell you something. People might doubt your words, but they cannot ignore your actions. They might question your silence, but they cannot argue with your results. So stop wasting time trying to convince the doubters. Stop trying to prove yourself with speeches and explanations. Put your head down, do the work, and let the results speak on your behalf. There's a saying, work hard in silence, let success make the noise. But I want to take that even deeper. It's not just about being quiet so you can surprise people with your results. It's about conserving your energy so you can pour it into the only thing that really matters, the work. Every minute you spend defending yourself, every ounce of energy you waste explaining yourself is energy that could have gone into building, into creating, into becoming. And I'll tell you this, when you start living this way, something amazing happens. You develop a quiet confidence. You stop needing everyone to believe in you because you believe in you. You stop needing constant validation because you see your own progress. You stop talking about who you're going to be because you're already becoming that person. And when you walk into a room, people feel it. They don't feel it because you told them what you're doing. They feel it because your energy, your presence, your results speak louder than any introduction ever could. That's real power. So how do you make this shift? You start small. You pick one area of your life where you've been talking more than you've been doing. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your finances. Maybe it's that business idea you've been carrying around for years. And instead of making another plan, instead of telling another person about what you're going to do, you take the first step. Quietly, silently, consistently, and then you keep going every day. No announcements, no declarations, just action. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll look up and realize you've become the person whose silence is powerful because it's backed by results. Here's the bottom lining. In 2025, the people who thrive won't be the ones making the loudest promises. They'll be the ones whose actions do the talking. They'll be the ones who conserve their energy, channel it into disciplined execution, and let their results tell the story. So stop talking about the mountain you're going to climb. Start climbing. Stop promising the life you're going to build. Start building, telling the world who you're going to become. Start becoming. Because in the end, words are forgotten, but results, they echo. And when you commit to living that way, you don't just change your year, you change your life. Discipline. It's not a word that excites most people. In fact, for many, it feels heavy. It feels restrictive, maybe even uncomfortable. But I want you to hear me clearly. Discipline is the single greatest bridge between who you are right now and who you want to become. You can dream as big as you want. You can visualize, affirm, manifest, talk about your goals until your throat is dry. But without discipline, none of it matters. Discipline is the engine that turns intention into reality. Here's the truth that most people don't want to face. Motivation will fail you. You can't depend on it. Motivation is a spark, and sparks are fleeting. They come and go. One day you wake up and you feel unstoppable. You're ready to conquer the world. The next day, that fire is gone, and you're struggling to even roll out of bed. If your life is built on waiting for motivation, you'll never build anything lasting. Motivation is the warm-up. Discipline is the game. Think of it like this. Discipline is what you fall back on when motivation disappears. And it will disappear. That's not a question of if, it's a question of when. The people you look at and think, wow, they're so motivated, so driven. It's not motivation keeping them going every day. It's discipline. It's a decision they made to do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. Let's be real. Most people know what they need to do. They know they should exercise. They know they should save money. They know they should stop wasting hours scrolling, stop indulging in destructive habits, stop surrounding themselves with people who drag them down. Knowledge isn't the problem. Even the problem is execution. The problem is sticking with the actions long enough to see the reward. And the glue that holds that execution together is discipline. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not about flashy moments. It's about the small, unsexy choices you make every single day that compound over time. Even it's not reality. And it's choosing to get up early when every cell in your body screams to stay in bed. It's choosing water when soda sounds better. It's choosing to put in an hour of focused work instead of watching another episode of a show you don't even care about. It's saying no to instant gratification so you can say yes to long-term fulfillment. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but discipline sounds restrictive. Doesn't it kill spontaneity? Doesn't it make life boring? Let me flip that for you. Lack of discipline is the real prison. When you lack discipline, you're not trapped. Trapped in the cycle of starting and quitting. Trapped in a body that doesn't feel healthy. Trapped in debt, in anxiety, in frustration. Trapped in excuses. Discipline, on the other hand, is freedom. Because discipline builds trust with yourself. Discipline creates results. And results give you options. Options give you freedom. There's a kind of psychological shift that happens when you start living with discipline. At first, it's uncomfortable. Your brain resists. It craves comfort, the path of least resistance, the familiar routine. But the moment you push through that resistance and prove to yourself that you can do the hard thing, something changes. You begin to see yourself differently. You start to respect yourself more. And that self-respect fuels confidence. Confidence doesn't come from standing in front of the mirror chanting affirmations you don't believe. Confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself. From proving over and over, I do what I say I'll do. And that proof doesn't come from motivation. It comes from discipline. Let me ask you something. How much better would your life be if you simply did the things you already know you should be doing? You don't need 20 new strategies. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need the stars to align. You need discipline. You need the willingness to do the work even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's boring, even when no one's watching, especially when no one's watching. Because the truth is, discipline is lonely. You're not always going to get applause for it. You're not always going to have someone cheering you on. In fact, some people may criticize you. They may call you obsessive, rigid, too focused. But that's because your discipline will make them uncomfortable. Your discipline will remind them of the choices they're not making. And you've got to be strong enough to stay the course anyway. Here's the beautiful part: discipline compounds. At first, the results are invisible. You might not notice them after a week or even a month. You'll be tempted to quit, to tell yourself it's not working. But if you stay consistent, suddenly the results start to appear. Your body changes, sharpens. Your skills grow. Your bank account shifts. And once that momentum builds, it becomes easier to keep going. The hardest part is the beginning, building the habit, fighting through the initial resistance. But once you break through, discipline starts to feel less like a burden and more like a gift. And it's not just about the external results. Discipline reshapes you on the inside. It rewires your brain. Every time you act with discipline, you strengthen the part of your mind that says, I can do hard things. I don't have to be a prisoner to my feelings. I am in control. That inner strength becomes your anchor when life throws challenges your way. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people. One has built discipline, both get hit with the same challenge. A job loss, a health scare, a betrayal. The one without discipline crumbles. They panic. They spiral. They let the situation control them. The one with discipline, they feel the fear too. They feel the shock, but they don't let it paralyze them. They rely on the habits they've built, the resilience they've forged. They take action, they adapt, they endure. Discipline doesn't prevent the storm, but it gives you the strength to stand in the middle of it without breaking. Now, I don't want you to think discipline means perfection. It doesn't. You're going to slip. You're going to have days where you miss the mark. That's part of being human. Discipline isn't about never falling. It's about refusing to stay down. It's about getting back up again and again, no matter how many times you stumble. And here's something powerful. Every time you get back up, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than your excuses. That's how you build unshakable discipline. Not by being perfect, but by being relentless. So here's my challenge to you in 2125. Stop waiting for motivation. Starting for the perfect time. Stop waiting for someone to push you. Decide that you're going to do the work, whether you feel like it or not. Decide you're going to show up for yourself every single day. Decide that you're going to build the kind of discipline that nothing can break. Because once you do, you'll realize something incredible. You will realize that discipline isn't the enemy of freedom. Discipline is freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from inconsistency. Freedom from the cycle of starting and quitting. Freedom from being controlled by your feelings instead of your choices. And when you live with that kind of freedom, when you know deep down that you can rely on yourself no matter what, that's when you become unstoppable. So don't just dream. Don't just talk. Build discipline. Build it day by day, choice by action by action. And let that discipline carry you to the life you were meant to live. Because in the end, it's not motivation that will change your life. It's not chance. It's discipline. And when you master discipline, you master yourself. Focus. It's the most valuable asset you have in 2025. More than money, more than status, more than talent. Because no matter how much potential you carry, no matter how many opportunities come your way, if you can't focus, if you can't direct your energy toward one meaningful target, you'll scatter your power and accomplish nothing lasting. The world we live in today is louder than it's ever been. Your attention is under attack from the moment you wake up. Notifications buzzing, headlines screaming, advertisements engineered to pull you in, social feeds designed to keep you scrolling for hours. We are living in the age of distraction, and the price of that distraction is massive. It's not just time you're losing, it's your life. Because where your attention goes, your life goes. You need to understand something. Distraction isn't just stealing minutes from your day. It's stealing your dreams. It's stealing the book you never wrote. It's stealing the fitness level you never reached. It's stealing the business you never built. It's stealing the deep, meaningful relationships you never developed because you were too busy staring at a screen. Every time you trade focus for distraction, you're giving away pieces of the future you were meant to create. Now, here's the trap. Most distractions don't look like distractions. They look harmless. They even look like little things. Checking your phone for a minute, scrolling through social media just to relax, answering an email as soon as it comes in. But those little things, repeated day after day, add up to a life that's constantly reactive instead of intentional. And the danger is this: you get so used to being distracted that you don't even notice it anymore. You call it multitasking. You call it staying connected. You call it being informed. But what it really is fragmentation. Your energy, your mind, your life, shattered into pieces so small that you never have enough power to make a real impact anywhere. Here's a truth most people don't realizing: the brain is not built to multitask. It can only focus deeply on one thing at a time. When you try to do multiple things at once, you're not doing them simultaneously. You're switching rapidly between them. And every switch costs you energy. Every switch drains your focus. Every switch leaves you more scattered, more exhausted, and less effective. Think about it. How many times have you sat down to work on something important only to check your phone, just for a second, and then suddenly realize 45 minutes are gone? That's not just time you've lost. It's momentum. Because focus isn't like flipping a light switch. It's like building a fire. It takes effort to get it burning strong. And every time you let a distraction pull you away, that fire dies down. Then you have to start all over again. So the question is, how do you master focus in a world designed to destroy it? How do you create a fortress around your attention so that you can pour your energy into the things that actually matter? The first step is clarity. You cannot focus if you don't know what you're focusing on. You've got to deciding what is the most important thing for me right now. Not 10 things, not 5 things, one thing. What is the single most important action I take today that moves me closer to the life I want? When you get crystal clear on that, suddenly distractions lose some of their power because now you have a target. And the human mind loves a target. But clarity alone isn't enough. Even got to eliminate the things that pull you away from it. And this is where most people stumble because elimination feels extreme. We don't like letting go. We want to believe we can have it all. Stay plugged into everything while still building greatness. But it doesn't work that way. Every yes is a no to something else. If you say yes to scrolling, you're saying no to progress. If you say yes to endless emails, you're saying no to deep work. If you say yes to constant noise and you're saying no to inner clarity, this means you've got to start saying no to the pings, the alerts, the conversations that go nowhere, the obligations that don't align with your purpose. And I know that sounds uncomfortable. It might even sound selfish. But let me tell you something, distraction doesn't just cost you. It costs everyone who would have benefited from the version of you that was fully focused. When you don't focus, you don't just rob yourself. You rob the world of the gifts you were meant to bring. Now, let's get psychological for a moment. Why do we give in to distractions so easily? Because distractions give us instant rewards. They're engineered to. A new notification lights up your brain with a hit of dopamine. A quick scroll makes you feel connected. Checking your messages makes you feel busy, even if you're not being productive. It's a trap, and it's addictive. The more you feed it, the more it grows. But here's the good news, just like distraction is a habit, focus is a habit too. And habits can be trained. The more you practice choosing focus over distraction, the easier it becomes. It's like training a muscle. At first it's hard. Your brain will fight it. But with repetition, that muscle grows stronger. Start small. Give yourself blocks of time where you commit to being distraction-free. No phone, email, no multitasking, just doing the task at hand. At first, 30 minutes might feel impossible, but stay with it. Over time, that focus window expands. And as it does, you'll notice something powerful. You'll start accomplishing more in a few focused hours than you used to accomplish in entire days of scattered effort. And it's not just about productivity. When you master focus, you experience life more deeply. You're fully present in conversations. You're fully engaged in your work. You actually taste your food. You actually notice the sunset. Focus isn't just about doing more. It's about living more. There's another piece to this. You've got to decide whose voices you allow into your focus. Because distraction isn't just digital. It's social. Too many people spend their lives chasing validation, comparing themselves, worrying about what others think. And every time you do, you split your focus. You take your eyes off your path to look at someone else's. And the more you do that, the less progress you make on your own. So here's a radical idea in 2025. Stop chasing validation. Stop broadcasting your every move for likes and approval. Stop living your life as if it's a public performance. Live it for real. Focus on becoming, not on impressing. When you do that, you'll find that the noise fades and the clarity rises. Now, I want to be clear. This doesn't mean cutting yourself off from the world. It doesn't mean living like a monk in a cave. It means choosing consciously where your attention goes. It means creating boundaries around your time, your energy, and your focus. It means recognizing that the greatest gift you can give yourself and the world is your full, undivided attention on the things that matter most. Imagine for a moment what your life could look like if you mastered your focus this year. Imagine waking up each day knowing exactly what you need to do, blocking out the noise, and pouring your energy into it with full force. Imagine finishing your days not drained from constant distraction, but fulfilled, and knowing you made real progress on the things that matter. Imagine the momentum you could build, the growth you could experience, the person you could become. That's not a fantasy. That's a choice you can make today. So here's the challenge in 2025. Eliminate the distractions that have been stealing your life. Build the habit of deep focus. Protect it like your most valuable asset, because it is. And watch how quickly your world transforms when your attention is no longer scattered but laser sharp. Because in the end, even your life is not shaped by the things you think about doing. It's shaped by the actually focus on and execute. So choose your focus. Guard it fiercely. Direct it with intention. And let it carry you into the future you were born to create. Let's talk about one of the most underestimated forces in shaping your future, the people you surround yourself with. You can have vision, you can have discipline, you can have focus. But if you're constantly walking back into an environment filled with negativity, with doubt, with mediocrity, eventually it will drag you down. No one is immune to the influence of their circle. Not me, not you, not anyone. Your circle matters more than most people are willing to admit. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that your circle is either multiplying your energy or draining it. They're either expanding your vision or shrinking it. They're either helping you grow into the highest version of yourself, or they're holding you hostage to the person you used to be. I want you to really think about this for a moment. Who are the people in your life that you spend the most time with? Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, digitally. Whose voices are you letting into your head? Because whether you realize it or not, those voices are shaping your standards. They're shaping what you believe is possible. They're shaping the way you think about yourself and the world. Here's the truth: human beings are wired to adapt to their environment. We pick up habits, mindsets, even emotions from the people around us. If you spend time around people who complain all the time, eventually you start to complain too. If you're around people who settle, who always find reasons why something can't be done, that becomes your reality. On the flip side, if you're surrounded by people who push, who believe, who demand more of themselves, you rise. You can't help but rise. That's why choosing your circle is not just a social decision. It's a life decision, because your circle isn't just influencing you, they're programming you. And if you don't choose consciously, you'll be programmed by default. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, but what if the people I love are the ones holding me back? What if my family, my friends, my coworkers, they're not supporting the life I want? That's a tough question, and it's one most people don't want to face. But here's the reality. Love someone deeply, yes. But never confuse love with permission to let them keep you small. You don't have to cut people out of your life to protect your growth, but you do have to set boundaries. You have to decide who gets your front row energy and who belongs in the balcony. Because not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. Not everyone deserves access to your dreams, your plans, your energy. And if you give the wrong people front row access, they will drain you until you have nothing left for yourself. Think about your goals for 2025. Think about the person you want to become. Now ask yourself honestly, are the people closest to me pulling me toward that version of myself, or pulling me away from it? If the answer is away, it's time to make some changes. And yes, that might be uncomfortable. Growth always is. But you have to decide, am I willing to trade my future for the comfort of keeping everyone happy today? Here's the thing. You don't need 100 people cheering for you. You don't need endless support from everyone you know. You need a few aligned, growth-minded, driven individuals who believe in you and who live at a standard that demands you rise higher. Just a few. Because energy is contagious. One person with fire in their soul can ignite an entire room, and one person with a toxic mindset can extinguish the brightest flame. So be ruthless about your circle, not because you don't care, because you care too much about your future, about your purpose, about the impact you were born to make. And let's talk about silence again here. Because one of the smartest things you can do in 2025 is stop telling your vision to people who don't share your values. Stop wasting your breath trying to convince people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Some of you are draining your energy by explaining your dreams to people who don't even want you to win. And then you wonder why you feel discouraged, why your vision feels heavy. Stop handing your dreams to people who don't know how to carry them. Stop inviting doubters into conversations that were meant to stay sacred between you and your purpose. Protect your vision. Share it selectively. Let your actions prove the rest. You'll notice something powerful when you start curating your circle, your energy shifts. Suddenly, conversations are no longer about gossip or complaints. They're about solutions, ideas, possibilities. Suddenly, you're surrounded by people who don't just ask, how's it going? But how far are you from that goal? And when you answer, they don't just nod, they challenge you to go further. That kind of environment pulls greatness out of you. But you've got to be willing to outgrow some circles. And I know that's hard. Sometimes you look around and realize you're no longer aligned with the people you used to run with. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It doesn't mean you think you're better than them. It just means your vision demands a different atmosphere. And the question is, are you brave enough to walk into that atmosphere, even if it means walking alone for a while? Because here's the truth, loneliness is temporary. Growth-minded community is out there. But you won't find it if you're clinging to circles that no longer fit. Sometimes you've got to create space by letting go. And when you do, the right people have room to step in. Remember, your circle is a mirror. If you want to know where your life is headed, look at the people you spend the most time with. Are they pushing you? Are they inspiring you? Are they challenging you to grow? Or are they comfortable staying exactly where they are? If it's the latter, you've got a decision to make. I want you to imagine for a moment it's the end of 2025. You've lived with focus. You've built discipline. You've protected your energy. And you've chosen a circle of people who believe in growth as much as you do. Can you feel the difference in that vision? Can you sense the momentum, the fire, the freedom? That's not just a possibility. It's waiting for you if you have the courage to choose it. So here's the challenge. Stop letting your circle be an accident. Make it intentional. Seek out people who light you up, who remind you of your potential, who refuse to let you settle for less than your best. Be willing to walk away from environments that drain you, no matter how familiar or comfortable they feel. Because your future is too important to be shaped by people who don't believe in it. In 2025, don't just protect your energy. Protect the environment that feeds it. Build a circle so strong, so aligned, so growth-driven that mediocrity can't survive in it. And when you do, you'll notice something extraordinary. You'll rise higher, faster, and with more joy than you ever thought possible. Not because you did it alone, but because you finally chose the right people to climb with. So choose wisely. Because your circle isn't just your company, it's your destiny. Silence. For most people, it's uncomfortable. We live in a world where silence has become almost unnatural. The moment there's a pause, we fill it with words, with noise, with our phones, with anything to distract us from the stillness. But here's the truth: silence isn't emptiness. Silence is power. And if you want to step into your full strength in 2025, you must learn not just to tolerate silence, but to embrace it. Because the silence isn't the absence of sound, it's the presence of clarity. Think about it. Every day, your mind is bombarded with input. Conversations, opinions, news, music, podcasts, videos, updates, endless streams of information. Most of it isn't even yours. It's other people's thoughts, other people's agendas, other people's noise. And if you don't create space for silence, you'll drown in that noise. You'll lose your own voice in the process. When you choose silence, you create the conditions for clarity. You give your mind the chance to process, to reflect, to connect the dots. You allow your intuition, the deepest, most powerful guidance system you have, to actually be heard. And that intuition is always speaking. The question is, are you quiet enough to listen? Now, I'm not talking about silence as passivity. I'm not telling you to retreat from life, to shrink back to avoid expressing yourself. No. I'm talking about silence as strength. Silence is a conscious choice. Silence as a shield against the chaos of the world and as a channel for the wisdom that's already inside you. Let me tell you why silence is so powerful. When you're silent, you become unpredictable. You stop feeding the world your every thought, your every move. And suddenly, people can't read you, can't anticipate, you can't interfere with your vision. That kind of silence is magnetic. It makes people pay attention, not because you're the loudest voice in the room, but you carry an energy that doesn't need to scream to be felt. And silence gives you leverage. While others are busy proving themselves, explaining themselves, you conserve your energy. You channel it into action. You pour into creating results. And when you finally do speak or reveal what you've built, it carries weight because you didn't waste your words. You back them with substance. Let's be honest, Sting. Most people talk too much. They reveal too much too soon. They share their goals with people who don't deserve to hear them. They announce their plans before they've taken a single step. They explain themselves to people who are committed to misunderstanding them. And in doing so, they leak energy. They dilute their power. Silence protects your energy. Silence gives you space to grow in peace. Silence lets you build without distraction, without interference, without the pressure of other people's opinions. And then when the results are ready, you let them speak for you. But silence isn't just about others. It's about you. It's about developing the ability to sit with yourself, to face your thoughts, your fears, your desires without running from them. And let me tell you, this is not easy because silence can be confronting. It strips away the noise and forces you to look at what's really going on inside. But that's where growth happens. That's where transformation begins. In silence, you meet yourself, not the version you present to the world, not the version that fits everyone's expectations. The real you. The you who knows what you want. The you who knows what you're capable of. The you who's been waiting for you to slow down long enough to hear your own voice. And here's something most people miss: silence isn't weakness. It's not submission. It's control. It's mastery. Anyone can talk. Anyone can react, but it takes strength to hold your ground in silence. It takes discipline to resist the urge to explain, to defend, to prove. It takes wisdom to know that not every battle deserves your words, that some battles are won by restraint, by patience, by letting time reveal the truth. The philosophers of old understood this. They knew that wisdom wasn't measured by how much you said, but by how deeply you listened. And in 2025, and when the world is noisier than ever, that wisdom is more relevant than it has ever been. So let's make this practical. How do you embrace silence in a way that transforms your life? First, carve out intentional time for it. Even just 10 minutes a day where you disconnect. No phone, no music, no distractions, just you, your thoughts, and your breath. At first, it will feel strange. Your mind will fight it. You'll feel restless, maybe even anxious. That's okay. Stay with it, because on the other side of that discomfort is a level of clarity and peace you can't find anywhere else. Second, practice silence in your conversations. You don't always need to rush to respond. You don't always need to fill the space. Listen more. Speak less. You'll be surprised how much more you learn when you give others the gift of silence. Third, protect your vision with silence. Stop announcing every plan, every step, every idea. Build in the shadows. Let your results make the noise. Not everyone deserves to know what you're working on. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. And finally, use silence as a tool for power. The next time you feel the urge to argue, to defend, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, does this battle need my words? Or will silence say more? More often than not, silence will speak volumes. I want you to imagine something. Imagine you've spent this year embracing silence. You've disconnected from the noise. You've stopped wasting your energy on proving and defending. You've built in peace, focused in stillness, listened deeply to your own intuition. At the end of the year, you unveil the results, and people are stunned, not just by what you achieved, but by the power you carry, because they realize you didn't need to shout. You didn't need to broadcast. You let silence do the heavy lifting, and it made you unstoppable. That's the gift of silence. It sharpens your focus. It strengthens your discipline. It amplifies your results. And it gives you a presence that no amount of noise can ever match. So here's my challenge to you in 2025. Don't run the silence. Embrace it. Use it, protect it. Let it become the secret weapon that fuels your clarity, your confidence, and your growth. Because at the end of the day, people won't remember the noise you made. They'll remember the impact you left. And silence, the right kind of silence, creates the space for that impact to echo long after the noise fades away. So step into the silence and let it make you powerful.